I think Jeffrey's here.
Okay. And yes, hi, Jeffrey.
Hi, how are you?
We're not going to wait for Rennie. Rennie had called me a little while ago, said that he got caught up at work, and so he's going to be running about 10 minutes late. That we got a quorum, so we're going to go ahead and start with that.
Okay, you're all set on my end.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining the City of Kingston's Common Council at our Public Safety General Government meeting. Today is April 28th, 2021. Before we begin, we would like to go over a few guidelines to help us navigate this system as efficiently and respectfully as possible. We ask that members of the public and press remain muted and off camera for the length of the meeting. The moderator for tonight is City Clerk Elisa Tinti, and she reserves the right to mute anyone who unmutes themselves. Council members and city staff will control their own mute button. Good practice would be to mute yourself if you are not speaking to avoid background noise and feedback. If a council member or staff wishes to speak, they will raise their hands. I will call members by stating their name clearly for our audio listeners. All of our meetings are recorded. Both video and written transcripts will be made available to the public on the city's website. Although we will not have public speaking tonight, you can sign up to speak at our monthly council meetings. Please email Elisa Tinti to sign up by noon the day of the meeting, or you can submit written comments for the record by the same deadline. The email address is emtinti, that's TINTI at kingston-ny.gov. You can also drop comments off at the drop box located outside the side door of City Hall. We also encourage you to reach out to committee chairs or your ward's representative at any time. Clerk Elisa Tinti is our moderator for today's meeting. She has the right to lock and pause the meeting to reject anyone who has behaved inappropriately. Lastly, at tonight's meeting, we have in attendance Chair, myself, Tony Davis, and committee members, Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch, Alderman Jeffrey Ventura Morale, Alderman Doug Coop. Non-voting council members, I do not see anyone by name here. And city staff, we have City Clerk Elisa Tinti, Court Counsel Dan Garstein, and City Engineer John Schulteis. Thank you for your patience during these difficult times, and on behalf of the Common Council, I wish you and your family good health. I now call this meeting to order at 6:34. Hello, everyone. All right, so we don't have a long agenda, so we'll move right into it unless somebody has something to say. Good. All right, so first thing on the agenda, and new business, we're going to go to a new business, is remove handicap signage on 106 West Pierpont Street. Any discussion? Alderwoman Hirsch.
Hi, is John on? I just had a question for him.
Yes, he's here.
Okay. Hey, John. So my original communication also, which I had CC'd you on, also said about the street and the one-way traffic and about the signage at the end of the street there. So there's only one like do not enter sign.
Yeah, so I can give you a little update on that. We are looking at one-way intersections in general to make sure they have MUTCD compliant signs for one-way and do not enter.
Okay.
And there's a large number of these, but we're going to try to do them all at once and identify any that are missing signs that should be in place. So this would be among those.
Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Any more discussion? Can I call, can somebody, motion to vote? And motion by Jeffrey Ventura Morale. Second, Michelle Hirsch. All in favor? I got to get to the next screen to see Doug. Thank you. Anyone opposed? No one's opposed. So it's 4-0. And since Rennie Scott, Alderman Scott Childress is not here at this time. All right, moving on to the next item. Is a resolution to remove, we had on agenda remove no parking signage at Wiltwick, and that I put in, but I was informed by all the person at large, Andrew Shout, as well as DPW, Ed Norman at DPW, that doesn't need any resolution, and I can just contact them to remove that and those signs. And next thing on the agenda, if we were going in order, was a few resolution fixes. And again, I want to thank Chairwoman, all the women at large, Madam Shout, for and fixing them. If there's only one that needs to be resolved, and that it's going to read that the resolution will read resolution to amend section 390-97 to remove no parking on the west side of Wall Street from Pearl Street to a point 150 feet south. And that is what needs to be voted on. And we have made some changes, I think a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, in regard to Wall Street, that Alderman Doug Coop had requested, and we were just informed that we had to make that verbiage, that change, to get it corrected. Any discussion on it? Can somebody please motion? Can I have a motion? Michelle Hurst, second by Jeffrey Ventura Morel. All in favor? Everybody's approved. That's Doug Coop, Jeffrey Ventura Morel, Michelle Hurst, and myself. Okay, moving along. Next thing on the agenda was loading zone from RUPCO. That again has been removed from the agenda, and RUPCO has been informed and in the proper steps that they need to do in regard to the loading zone request. So we don't have any more discussion on it. The next thing on the item, the small agenda, was no parking North Street, and that was proposed and brought up by Mayor Noble. John, can you speak to it in regard to that? John, City Engineer John Schulteis, sorry.
Yeah, good evening. This was a request that I guess was originally made late last year as we were looking at opening the Empire State Trail, which passes along North Street at this location. And the mayor's suggestion was to prohibit parking on the east side of North Street. And for part of this location, there is a sidewalk. For the north half of this location, there's no sidewalk, but there are now large numbers of people cycling and walking on this section to enjoy the Empire State Trail and the connections to the north, to the Brickyard Trail, and to the south to Kingston Point. And so given the width of the street being 30 feet, it does make sense to restrict parking to one side only. And so the suggestion is to prohibit parking on the east side. And I'll also note part of this area was already restricted parking seasonally for part of the year. And so this just makes that a year round and makes it consistent for the length of the street from Delaware Avenue to the north end.
All right. Any questions? No questions? So I'll read the resolution, or the committee report, I should say. Amend 390-99 schedule 15, parking prohibited, certain schedule 16. I'm gonna get my Roman numerals right. Parking prohibits certain hours to remove east side of North Street from Delaware Avenue to Willow, currently prohibited November 1st to March 15th. And amend 390-97 schedule 16, no parking or standing at any time to remove North Street east side from the intersection of Delaware Avenue to point 50 feet north thereof, and amend 390-97 schedule 16, or I'm sorry, schedule 14, no parking or standing anytime to add North Street east side from Delaware Avenue north to the end of the street. I hope I got those Roman numerals right. Any question on it? Can I have a motion? Jeffrey Ventura Morel, second Michelle Hurst. All in favor? Doug, did you have a question? All right, thank you. Okay. No, anyone against it? This passes for nothing. All right. That is that for new business. And only thing I have on the agenda for old business is last month we tabled the committee report from City Engineer John Schulteis in regard to stop signs on certain streets, and we had tabled it and for the older people to have an opportunity to go out and see these streets in their wards and then report back to me. And I did hear back from physically, I heard back from Rennie Scott Childress, who had no problem. I went out on my thing, so I didn't hear back from any other other person in regard to having a problem in regard to that. And Jeffrey?
Yes, I did hear back. Sorry, I thought we were supposed to tell you at the meeting. I didn't realize I was supposed to contact you before. I did hear back from some constituents on the intersection of, there's only two that are in Ward 1, and one of them is the intersection of Alcazar and Voorhees. And I've heard from constituents that live along those streets, and they would be very opposed to having a stop sign there. So that's the only thing I've heard back. I reached out to a few people I know on the other street that's on Ward 1, and I haven't heard back from anyone.
Okay, so some people had objection to Alcazar and Voorhees Avenue. And anybody else?
And all of our streets are, the ones on my list for Ward 9 are good.
Okay, and City Engineer John Schulteis, and I'm not sure, is there some that you can remove? I'm not, how we go with this? I mean,
Right.
you can speak on it.
So the majority of these locations are sort of three-legged intersections that historically have not had stop control posted. And there is an exception in the MUTCD that can allow for that condition to exist in certain conditions. But the main restriction that exists around the city from observing these locations is sight distance. And so in the absence of a stop sign, you would follow the right-of-way procedures under state law, and the car on the right, if both arrive at the intersection, has right-of-way. But that also kind of presumes that there's enough sight distance that both vehicles approaching the intersection can see each other and react with enough time. And so the majority of these, or really all of these locations, either lack sight distance due to structures at the corner, due to vegetation at the corner. They can sometimes lack sight distance if parked cars are parked along the roadways, which is a condition that sometimes exists and sometimes doesn't. They might, so the sight distance is either limited or potentially limited really at all of these locations. And that's one of the reasons they're on the list. So the stop sign exists to let the approaching driver know you're going to need to come to a stop at this location in order to see what you need to see, rather than potentially proceed through without stopping.
Okay. All right. So we wouldn't be able to amend this then. We would have to approve it as it is then, from what you're saying. You wouldn't make any you wouldn't make any changes to this list.
I mean, the Common Council has the final say on this. This represents my recommendations, and if there are others that should be discussed, but the location mentioned at Alcazar does have that sight distance limitation or potential limitation, especially if cars are parked for a party or something, or at any time. The stop sign, in my opinion, is necessary to properly control the intersection.
And Dan Garstein, you have anything to chime in on, to comment on this or add? Corp Counsel Dan Garstein.
Yeah, I can certainly chime in, but not as corp counsel. That's my street. I live on that block. Okay, and I fully agree with what Jeffrey is saying in terms of, the fact that that stop sign is not warranted. I've lived here for 20 years. And in my experience, there is no issue with sight lines from Alcazar approaching Voorhees, unless a car is illegally parked on the corner of Voorhees. And if a car is illegally parked there, it should be ticketed. But, I have never had an issue. And certainly on a personal level, rather than as the city's attorney, I certainly would not be in favor of another stop sign on that corner.
That's what I've heard across the board from, there's not that many houses on that street, and it's not a very trafficked street, but that's the consensus I've heard from everybody I reached out to.
Okay, so we can remove that street from the list then, and if that's what consensus that you got, if that's what you want, Alderman in Ventura Morel. And so, the city engineer is requesting that, and we might have to come back to this, and it can come back, and that we can discuss this again if necessary. But right now, we'll remove that particular street from the list then. Hold on for a minute.
Yeah, Tony, did you not mean to call me? I think you butt dialed me.
I wanted to ask you a question, so I'm calling you back now.
Alrighty.
Good evening, all. Sorry I'm late. Given the way the wind's blowing right now, I could
I
blame
know,
it on
I
the
was
wind.
waiting for like a house to blow by. Looking out the window. Dorothy.
Right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I lose power today when it's windy like
get this over.
we do.
So which item on the agenda are we at now?
We're already on to old business. so
We're on
we
the
can-
old business, the list of stop signs. Rennie, I didn't, Alderman Scott Childress, I mentioned that you had reached back to me and you had heard and had no concerns about the stop signs being put up on there. Our discussion now is that, and we're going to remove Alcazar Avenue and southwest to Voorhees Avenue. Jeffrey had heard from constituents who don't feel that a stop sign needs to be there. And so I was just checking with something with Mr. Garstein. So we're going to remove that from the list. And I haven't heard, again, I haven't heard anything back negatively from any other of these streets. So we'll remove that one issue off the list. And then we'll, I guess, take a motion to, if there's no more discussion, we'll take someone motion. Michelle Hirsch. Second, Jeffrey Ventura Morel. And so any questions on it? Any more discussion? So we'll take the vote. All in favor? Thank you. No one's opposed. So it passes with everybody. And City Clerk Lisa Tenti, and would you make note just to remove that one from that list?
Well, you're gonna need to send me all of the committee reports.
Already.
So just put a line through it.
I'll put a line through it and I'll probably drop it off. And since there's a lot of paper here, so I'll drop it off tomorrow, all the committee reports.
Okay, yeah, if you could do that or email them, but no later than tomorrow because it's, next week. We
Okay.
have to write all those resolutions.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Any other business? that was not on the agenda that anybody wants to talk about? Thank you for everybody for appearing. So, can I have a motion to end the meeting? Motion by Michelle Hurst, second. Rennie Scott Childress. You're just getting here. All in favor? Thank you.
I forgot you were the fastest chairman in the West.
Hey, if it's no discussions or everything, move through, and so everybody can enjoy the rest of their evening. So, the meeting is ended at 6:51 p.m. and I'll see everybody at the next public safety, and if not before that, the next caucus, which is Rennie,
Oh, caucus would be May, is it 5?
May 5th? No, May 3rd.
May 3, yeah.
May 3rd.
Sorry,
Okay.
May 3rd. And there will be a special finance committee meeting before that.
Okay.
It's about the water department.
All right. Okay. Everybody enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you then.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.